What is up, guys, and welcome back once again then to Kerbal Space Program, the Ebby Space Agency career mode playthrough. We are here for episode number 11 of the series, and yeah, we're coming off the back of a fairly decent episode 10. I think, you know, we managed to discover what a plane is. We figured that you don't have to have rockets to go through the air, and sometimes going through the air horizontally is just as fun as flying through it vertically. So we designed a plane, we designed a couple of planes actually, and then decided to explore just the local area, nothing too crazy, but we managed to get landing rights to the Kohler airfield as well as the island airfield. We also replaced the space telescope that we lost a couple of episodes ago due to a game bug, so you know that is now also back in orbit of Kerbin, new and improved as well, with better optical parts. And so now we're back here to continue our journey and search for answers about our solar system and exactly what it is that makes it go around quite so circular. But yeah, you see here we are at the Kerbal Space Center, and we're straight into the mission control room, accepting a couple of contracts. One of them is a new airline contract, and the other is a rescue mission. That seems to be the more prioritized one. All right, the Kerbals in space that are stuck from lesser space programs that haven't quite planned out their journeys as well as we do. Cough, cough. We have never got someone stranded in space, right, guys? But yeah, they've asked for our help, and you know they only have a finite amount of time, so we're going to go ahead and design a rescue craft, just something that we can put down on the surface of Minmus, because there is a Kerbal actually stuck on the surface of Minmus that we need to go ahead and try to rescue. So you see there we're designing a rescue lander craft that we can just throw together and send into space to go collect them, as well as I think there was one of them that was in orbit too. So you know we've got the job here of landing, taking off, setting up a rendezvous, and then getting ourselves back to Kerbin. So you know we're starting to make multiple trips here. And yeah, you see we designed there the Nightingale spacecraft, and we realized that we are spending far too much money on just disposable launch stages. So we are now taking our first financially responsible decision and designing ourselves a reusable launch stage here. So this launch stage is capable of launching pretty much most payloads that we have at this stage in our career mode, right? I think it's rated up to, I want to say 36 tons of payload that we can send into space without too much issue. Obviously we've got the boosters there that you see we're placing. We're just kind of figuring out the best way to attach them. So it's not 100% reusable. There are certain elements that are still one-time use in the form of obviously the boosters. They will detach on ascent, but the actual main body of the booster itself is reusable. So that we can try and save a little bit of money, trying to make more financially sound decisions. Unfortunately, we don't have any landing legs that are big enough to go on the bottom, so we can't land it SpaceX style. Instead, what we have to do is well, you'll see how this thing goes later on, but we call it the Scuff of Dreams booster because you know we can only assume that this is going to go wrong at some point. But now with both sides developed and designed, we are gonna go straight to the inaugural launch. Yeet. I have no idea how this is going to go, and I can only apologize to the family of Gwenany if this goes south. Let's prograde. Blast clear. What's our periapsis 107? We are definitely going to space. So there you go then. It seems like if you do fill the fuel tanks with enough hopes and dreams, it does eventually go right for you and will go to space. So you see nice easy separation there of the boosters and further separation of the actual launch stage itself, which has its own probe core and stuff like that in it, which allows it to perform a pitch over and starts to deorbit itself before we just make the solar panels pop out on the rescue ship there. And yeah, this thing actually does behave rather nicely on descent. The reusable stage, those air brakes performing rather nicely, keeping the whole thing nice and stable. Sadly, the actual descent itself is at night, but I can tell you the parachutes do open without too much issue there. And yeah, I mean, I'll hand you over to the live sort of landing of the first landing of this new booster. We're going to see what happens. I don't think this is going to go well. Never mind. Wait, hang on. I'm taking that. I'm taking that as a success. You can't tell me otherwise. I rule. I'm amazing. I wasn't even worried. You were worried. So yeah, you see there, see the first landing there, obviously I was filled with confidence on the descent, right? But yeah, it does go well for us, and we recover the whole thing to save ourselves a good chunk of money, which, you know, we are always a fan of here at the Ebby Space Agency. The rest of the flight goes fairly well. Again, we've been to Minmus a bunch of times now. This is not something that's new. So we set ourselves up on a nice little landing, and we aim for Arlov's crash. They've decided that they're going to put themselves down on the side of a mountain. So Gwenny, she's been in space on her own for about 6 days now. She could do with a company, right? Sets down the rescue craft nice and gently on one of the slopes. Nearly tips it over, but thankfully with Minmus's low gravity, it's easy enough to recover. And there you see Arlov then, she leaves her wreck and does hop on over to the rescue craft before jumping in, giving Gwenny a high five as they take off to go collect our second passenger. So one thing that is a bit of a quirk with the Giving Aircraft a Purpose mod, I think it's that mod that does this, but you don't just always have pilots, engineers, and scientists. Now, to clarify, those are the only useful ones that you can useful Kerbals you can get, but you do also get access to civil servants, citizens, and I want to say like Navy personnel or something like that, because of the they're just categories of Kerbal they use in the contract, right? But that does then unfortunately add them to the pool of Kerbals that you can rescue. So as a result, yeah, we have Arlov, who is a civil servant, but we do also have Tailed, who is a usable Kerbal. I think she is, not Tailed, sorry, Tamble. I think she's an engineer or a scientist. But yeah, out of the two that we rescue, unfortunately, we only are able to utilize one. But the landing and return to Kerbin, as you see there, it goes off without a hitch, and we do rescue those two Kerbals and complete the mission, more importantly. After that, then, we use a bit of the science that we gathered to unlock some new aircraft parts, and the aircraft geeks in Mission Control and the Design Center are now piecing together a bit more of an ambitious airline project than what we had at the end of last episode. So you see here we are designing something that's a kind of almost like an Embraer sort of commuter jet kind of dealio. More seats than our little private jet that we designed, but also not like a hugely a huge jumbo jet kind of deal, right? Because ultimately we're not going to be carrying massive amounts of passenger numbers. But yeah, you see we're just designing this at the moment to basically almost be our like workhorse airline aircraft. You know, the one that we're going to take on most of these flight missions. So yeah, you see, we're using the, I love this mod, the procedural wings mod by B9. I talked it up last episode as well. It's absolutely fantastic. It allows you to create nice, unique looking aircraft, as well as fine-tune your aerodynamics to what you want, rather than trying to build Franken wings out of the stock wing parts. It's nice to just get it all as one part. Keeps the count down, and also you know, means that there's fewer joints in the wing to break through Kraken attacks and stuff like that. So you see, we take a fairly simple approach to the design of this. I do love a good T, the tail plane in the sort of that T configuration. I don't know why. I just find it at least for the aircraft I design, it just keeps everything much more stable. But yeah, we then design our own little engine. We don't have the big Goliath engines or anything like that. It's a bit overkill. It would be a bit overkill anyway. But yeah, we go under wing for the engines rather than at the rear. And yeah, I mean, we're just finalizing the design now, just working out our control groups. We get proper like airline-ish air brakes. We don't need the big air brakes that we had last time, and this thing is ready for launch. There we go. Right. That actually flies so nicely. Oh, that flies so well. And yeah, I mean, you hear the immediate sounds of approval while I'm at the stick. So yeah, the aircraft with the positioning of the landing gear, just the way it flies, it's really smooth and easy to handle. And yeah, I didn't really have any issues controlling it at all. We do also have the autopilot mod there. You see that on the sort of left-hand side of your screen. So that does make the sort of cruising around easy. But we fly onwards then to the next airfield that we're going to try and open, being the Jeb's Junkyard sort of airfield, I guess. It's a dirt airfield, but we figured if we can land here, we can land anywhere, right? And we do kind of put down, but we do have a little bit of work to do with the layout of the landing gear. We end up Tokyo drifting off the runway, but safely coming to a stop before then taxiing to the ramp like nothing happened. And we must have made some sort of impression, because they still give us the rights to take off and land there in the future, before we then obviously taxi along and do take off to head back home. By the time we did get back to the Kerbal Space Center, then it was getting towards sort of sunset. We did take off quite late in the day. It's not a massively big distance between those two airfields, but we get this nice, very nice, I think, sunset with the volumetric clouds as we fly our approach into the KSC, coming in from the ocean side. And yeah, I just think watching the sun slowly go down while you're flying in is really beautiful. Yeah, the power of mods in this game is just insane. But yeah, we fly a nice calm approach. And yeah, this thing actually does land quite well. Once you get the hang of the friction on the wheels and stuff like that, it is actually okay. And you see there, we flare the landing, nice and smooth touchdown. And yeah, we hit the brakes before taxiing to the hangar and shutting her down before heading back home for the night. And yeah, another successful flight. The aircraft handles very nicely. We just need to tweak a little bit with the friction, and we're going to use this next flight as the testing bed to do so. So we have an early morning takeoff in the middle of the night. just to try and sort of maximize our hours of daylight once we get to the destination airfield, right? So we're off on our way to Cape Kerman. However, we did get the timing a little bit wrong, so we're approaching this airfield at night. So it's going to be a night landing here as well. But again, nice and gentle on the touchdown. We're starting to get the hang of hitting the ground gently when we want to land these things. And yeah, as a result, you know, we're getting a bit of experience, right? Tamble then and Gwenany are our flight crew on this one. Obviously, Tamble having just been rescued from orbit of Minmus, she is spending a bit of time flying around Kerbin before she goes back to space. And yeah, they take us in for a nice, gentle landing. And a nice simple approach into the KSC. And yeah, I mean, we were really enjoying ourselves on this, so we we went for flight number 3 then in this new aircraft. Again, really trying to get the testing as much as possible on this aircraft. And nice first-person dawn takeoff here at the KSC. Again, the volumetrics cloud mod just coming in absolutely clutch for the views in this game. And yeah, like I said, this thing does take off quite nicely, and it handles very nicely in the air. Its weak point is the landings, but with a bit of fine tuning, it does work out quite nicely. You see there, very nice sort of takeoff, and you see a bit. We get one of the boxes for a bit of debris flying through the air. That's just a bit of debris that's in low Kerbin orbit. But yeah, we take off. We set up our autopilot, and we let it take charge there. As you see, it turns us to head over to Sandy Island, which is all the way across the other side of this ocean to the east. Decent enough to approach, and it's a smooth enough flight. This airfield actually does come in quite clutch later on in the career mode, as you'll find out. It is actually very, very well located as sort of an auxiliary airfield for certain types of missions. But you see, nice and easy approach, and yeah, we make our way down towards the surface onto runway 22, and then we put her down nice and gently. A little bit rougher than previous landings, and you see we do still get that weird swaying as we fight to keep the aircraft under control, but we do eventually keep it under control and straighten out, slow her down. Before then exiting the runway at the end there. So once you're stabilized on the ground, it is very easy to slow down. It's just the way landing gear works in Kerbal Space Program. For whatever reason, it loves to just try and pull you to one side either way. So yeah, we do have to refine that over time. But otherwise, this aircraft is a pleasure to fly, to the point where I don't actually have to really do anything to take off. Like, this thing, it gets to a certain speed and it just kind of auto-rotates, which, you know, you love to see. You love an aircraft that flies itself, right? That's why we got the autopilot mod. But yeah, like I said, the rest of the flight goes just unremarkably, really. We make our return flight nice and simple. Yeah, a little bit of a wobble on landing again, but yeah, we park up with no further issues. But yeah, that was the final flight. And yeah, that is, like I said, that was the final flight, and it is the end of the episode, guys. So a bit more sort of plane heavy here, but, you know, it's new, it's exciting technology, right? We really want to explore Kerbin, especially with this volumetric cloud mod. I feel it'd be a shame not to make the most of it. But you know, rest assured, we are still committed to exploring the solar system and space. So do stay tuned and join us on the next one. But for now, guys, thank you all for watching, and yeah, I will catch you all on the next one. Goodbye.